shall not pass! Okay, no, actually, God, that's a good movie. Something different today, pole. Alright, let's talk a little bit about the pole today, and some of the main things that you want to focus on. I'm not going to demonstrate the pole form for you today. Maybe one of these days I'll show a whole video of it. But let's answer a couple of questions that may be coming into your mind regarding the pole. Regarding the pole, first of all, if you look around all Wing Chun lineages, there's quite a variety of different pole forms that you see online or out there, whatever you look on YouTube. People have different variations, different forms, whatever the case may be, that's fine. The reason more often than not you see it that way is, from my understanding and from what I was told, when the pole form was basically passed, or not really a form, the pole, as far as history-wise, was basically passed, wasn't originally with the Wing Chun when it first started. It was the swords and the pole were added on eventually later through the history. So when it was basically taught to the other first, second, third generations under Yip Man, there was no real form. Basically what they had was exercises. They had particular exercises that people would do. You'd actually do one motion, another motion, cross motions and so forth. All these other motions and exercises that people would work together with to do with the form. So that's it. That's all they were showing. Variations of different exercises to do it. So what basically happened is I showed everyone all these different kinds of exercises. One guy's interpretation as far as, okay, let's use these exercises that we have and we'll make it into a form. Let's use these exercises we have and we'll make it into a particular form. And so that's what you basically have, all these variations of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. As long as the pole itself, you understand what the main purpose is of the pole. Pole, you can definitely fight with the pole, but really you look at the weapons as a tool to enhance what you're currently developing with your hands. Just like how the dummy helps you, just like how the sword forms help you, and also how the pole form actually helps you all in all. By the way, zombie apocalypse, this is my weapon of choice, the pole. Right? So I've come to, when I first learned the pole, I wasn't too enthused about the swords or the pole. I really didn't understand, other than here's a form, just do it, yada yada. But over the years I've come to understand how the pole works, how it actually helps you. And actually it's my weapon of choice. Literally, zombie apocalypse comes, this is the first thing I'm running for. Okay? So, regardless of what your pole form is, the main principle behind the pole is just look at it this way. It's an extension of doing the same principles you're doing with your body. The body does everything, the hands basically follow. So let's take, for example, in my particular form, let's take, for example, in this section. What this section basically covers is 4 quadrants as far as blocking. You're basically, you could say 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 7 o'clock. So I'll just run briefly through it as far as the motion. So from here, in this motion here, I'm going here at 5 o'clock angle, circling around, coming back, stick. I come back here, this is 11 o'clock, down, come back here, 7 o'clock, circle up, poke, and then I come back here, 1 o'clock, and then stab through, okay? Now, what's the main thing that I'm looking for when I'm doing this? What I want to do is basically have the pole supported, not by my hands, but actually the body. And I want to make sure that the movement that I'm doing with the pole is led exactly by the same way with the body. Just like, for example, if I was doing any hand motions, I don't want to go chop, 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 using my hands to stick out the motion. Basically, my hands stay within the center, and from here, my body simply rotates. So if I was to do something like Tan Pak, see how my hands basically don't move, my body basically moves it from here. If I do Pew, my body basically moves it for here. Jump. See, no movement from my hands at all, just actually hand changing positions of it. So the same thing with the pole. Like, for example, that first motion where I go at 5 o'clock to do a block, okay? Now from here, if I just go, boom, 5 o'clock. See, it looks okay. I mean, I make a big circle, I can cover the line, I can get away with it. But if you actually concentrate and, really make the pole work. When I do this, when I start initiating the motion, look how I initiate the motion. I don't go like this. See how my hands are here, and I just follow it from here. Look what I actually do. Notice at the side here, the pole is supported by my body, always. So it actually has control. My hands just simply change position based off my body motion. So here, if I go like this, look at my body, just stay still, and I just use my hands, okay? Now look, here, when I move, look how I move. My body moves first to create that circle motion, and then what happens? My body moves to create that circle of motion, and then from here I use the body to support it here. See, I use it against my chest and I hold it in between my two hands from this position. Okay, so something as simple as that. When I go here, I go body to circle. Now from here, now look, see how my body initiates it also to circle that motion? My body initiates that motion, and I push it off with here. Okay, can you see? Hopefully you can see the difference in that. If you can't, let me see if you, I'll give different variations of how to do it. So for example, if I just go like this, boom, a little sloppy, just a hand position. So take your time to actually feel this out. When I go here, look how I have my body, boom. Body, initiate. See how my body moves it? Down. Body torques, up. Circle, boom. From here, body pushes. See, my hand doesn't push it out. My body pushes it out. Body, extend, okay? All that is basically what you're looking for. Make sure the body is controlling the movement of the stick. If you can make the body move it, as far as like, say something as simple as this. See that's just my hand moving it. But if I go, see how my body's moving it nice and smoothly like that to make it move either way. My body's actually making that motion happen. You don't want that basically your hand doing it. Same thing, just same principle. This is just an extension of what you're doing with your hands. Also, the final thing that I also want to point out when you're working with the pole form is the balance. You want the balance within the pole. So for example, if I was just to go like this, hold the pole like this, see? You don't have the natural balance of how the pole works. What I use is I use my body here to brace this part of the pole. And then what I look for is how high should I hold the pole? Where's the right place to hold it? If I just hold the pole at this position here, I can feel more of the weight towards the tip. Okay, even though my body's supporting it at this point. But what I do, I have to find a point where I adjust my hand here. See, a little here, this hand here, and place it in between. And then when I place it here like this, it basically balances out perfectly, right? I just simply use this for the control, right? Right? Control it with both sides. So that's what I'm looking for. Balance the pole on both sides evenly, so the weight's distributed fairly between your hands. So when I turn like this, it moves balance as far as how it's moving. When my body moves, the pole moves with it. And if you follow those simple rules, regardless of how you do your form, make sure the body moves it, and make sure you balance out the weight of the pole when you're doing it. You'll definitely benefit from learning and working on the pole. All right.